Strategies, we've got the question come up again about the end of KankuDai or kushanku, where we've landed like this, and then you get the big scoop and the stand-up yama position before you drop your arms down. I'm sure we've shown it previously, but here we go. I quite like the idea that apart from lifting someone over your head and dropping them, we might use it so that we're in here and the hooks come in, we've managed to get around behind, and then we scoop this up, and so there's our yama position, and then having pulled on there, we start to push down for the dropping the arms for yame, and this of course is where things go snap, because the pressure on his neck is pretty intense. And you can see these hands are just about ready to tap, and I'm not at the end of the move yet. So we're just going to let that back out again so that you can see the bits. Okay. So the first thing is how you get there. And you say, well, I might just punch the guy. Well, you might. But if you manage to get round behind him, you might be able to restrain him. So it might be that we're here, and that's gone swooping over there, and we take it this way this time. And oh, I didn't get my arm underneath his other arm. Instead, the yama position is now on the jaw and the arm. And so we've got an effective bar across his arm here where we're wrenching on it. And then from there, if you make yame, you're folding this in and bringing it down. As we go down here, we can take hold of this side and pull. And we go down to there again. How do we get there? It might be that we've got uppercuts coming in. We drop in there, pull this down, and we bring this now and try to lift. Oh, well, that looks like an earlier part of the kata, not the end. It might be that that uppercut comes in, and instead of stopping it, we manage to glance that to the side, and we pull off this side. Oh, but now my yama position has him over to the side, and the elbow is dropping down onto the throat before we fold that in and drop. It might be that we stick this part of the movement into it. And so when people see this, obviously it has the look of someone coming down and scooping a leg up. So that's often the application that's given. So you hear all sorts of things about how you're over here and there's a front kick going there, and you actually turn into it to catch it and then pose like that before you drop this leg again. But what about if we're in here like this, and the grapple's going on, and it's the end, we've done some of this and some of this. The human body is made to take impacts going into the structure this way, but some peculiar things happen. If I take this side and start like this, we might or might not get anything. But if I slip this hand and come through here like this, the effect's a little bit different. Well, if this is just catching this side, it's still a bit strange compared to that kind of impact, then how about if we just come down and take something that's a lot weaker, like that midpoint on the iliotibial band. So we're in here like this, and if you just reverse the natural order of things and swoop down there like that, then the structure tends to collapse, and we can reverse this now a lot easier for that yame position. Scooping through, lift and drop. The structure of that is a particularly strange one for people to see, I know. But it comes down to things like this. If that hand's up and I'm pushing on it from this side, I'm meeting strength with strength. We know that the arm folds in on itself mechanically, so it's always going to go that way. But how much easier for me to do this? Because the body just doesn't understand pressure coming from the wrong direction. And it's things like that that enable us to push there and have a battle, or do that. Because changing the hand works contrary to what the brain thinks is going to happen. Now you say, how can you pull all that off in the middle of a fight? The answer is, however you train. If you train to be able to switch and push, then you'll manage it. If you never train to do that, then it's not going to happen. So you look at just how many times in kata we cross the body. The arms cross the body phenomenal amount of times. And if we see a hand moving in a direction which doesn't appear to cross the body, maybe it actually does. What? Imagine, see, how from here, if I pull this arm out, it's not crossing the body. But now what happens if I put this arm over here and do this? Now it's crossed the body. And then instead I've got myself a really good position to be able to crank this back in for, say, another move in a different kata, like basai. So the principle we're feeding you here is the one where you go contrary to what the body can take because you get a better effect. In its simplest form, if I come in with this one, I might get a good shot, it might land well enough to cause some serious damage, but that's different. I know we lined it up and you got to see it and it was slow enough to see, but the fact of it is, if instead of training this, you just train, because it's across the body. There's a message here, it's across the body. Okay, and so we're in here like this, something's happening, and in this kata we see this comes up, we've got a double bump there, hit here, bumping in here at the same time. There's your yama position as we haul this up, and then you push down for the yama. And you can have that in any number of situations. It can be there, it could be that you turn him, as you saw earlier. There's all sorts of different ways this can be delivered. But the principle is the thing behind it. The scooping is coming across the body. And it's not just my body it's going across, it's the body of the opponent. And if you can apply that across all the other moves that you know, then you begin to see how this thing called kata really just fits into two people doing some stuff and how you reach what's going on within each situation as they occur.